As a business owner of a janitorial company, or even maybe a VP of operations or someone overseeing the operations, you know full well that ops is the most challenging part of the business. So we're all familiar with the recruiting challenges. We're familiar with all the employment related issues. We're familiar with dealing with customers and how to make customers consistently satisfied in the quality of work that we do. And probably the thing that inhibits us from growing more than anything else is our operations ability to scale. So how do we fix that? How do we prepare ourselves operationally, prepare our organization in terms of operations to be able to scale, to be able to grow, to be able to get rid of some of these issues so that we can build a nice foundation for our company? So I want to talk about 4 quick steps. I just want to give you a brief overview. These are actually steps, part of a larger framework of what we talk about in our operations workshop. But this is 4 things you need to be thinking about as it pertains to building a sustainable operation or a strong operational foundation to be able to scale your company. Point number 1 is you need an organizational structure. So when you first started out running your business, it started out small, likely, just like we did. And as you begin to grow, you start adding people and you start adding different tasks that need to be accomplished. And slowly over time, things just get added on layer by layer. And before you know it, you've got a lot of different people in the company doing a lot of different things. And there's not a lot of rhyme or reason why you're doing what you're doing. It makes it hard to hold people accountable, makes details and some important details get lost in the shuffle. And over time it creates confusion, and it makes it really tough to then be able to grow significantly from that point that you're at. So what every company needs to do, and I do this with a lot of clients that I work with, is to step back and look at, okay, if I was going to build out an organization, given my current size now, or maybe where I want to be in the next few years, what would my structure look like? What silos in the company would I have? HR and sales and marketing and operations and admin and finance. And what would the particular positions be in that organizational structure? And what would the responsibilities be? And how would people relate to one another? So Gino Wickman in his book Traction talks about this. They call it the accountability chart. And I think it's a great starting point to develop your organizational structure, to figure out what do we want to look like operationally, both now and in the future. So step number 1, I would encourage you to build out an organizational chart for your company. Step number 2 is the need for a service model. And here's what I mean by this. You need to begin asking yourself this question: what is it specifically that our customers want from us? And what type of service do we actually deliver? Like, what is it that keeps our customers satisfied, and how do we do that well? So oftentimes in our industry, what we think is our customers want a clean building. And sure, they do, right? Like, you've got to do that. But at the end of the day, they want more than that. They're looking for something above and beyond that. And it's your job to figure out, given your specific group of clients that you have, what is it that they want? And I can assure you it's something more than a clean building. And what you need to do is figure out what that is, and then how do you deliver your service, and specifically how does your management team deliver the service, because they're the ones interfacing with the customer. How do you do that in such a way to meet the deeper needs that the customer has? So one of those that we've sort of picked up on as we've dealt with a lot of our customers is they are looking for peace of mind. So they don't want to have to worry about this service. They're looking for ease, peace of mind. They don't want to be fretting over this. They don't want to be getting complaints. And so that's something we try to tap into. And so in terms of partnership meetings and the way we communicate, we're always looking to make sure we're hitting on that need that the customer has. So I would encourage you to talk to your customers, figure out as an organization, what is it that you guys are good at? What needs do your customers have, deeper needs that they have, and how can you guys develop a service model to deliver on those needs? Okay, step number 3, this is something else I would encourage you to think about, is the structure of your managers. And here's what I mean by this. We built out our organizational chart, and then within that, probably the most key position in your organization are the actual frontline managers that relate with the cleaners and also relate with the customers. And some of you may have that broken up into two different positions. We have that as one position. And what you need to begin thinking about there is, what does that job role look like? What are the KPIs associated with that role? So what things are expected? How do you hold people accountable in that role? How can you ensure that they are being successful in that role? And then also, what does a workload look like? So how many buildings or full-time equivalents or total number of employee hours, how much can one specific manager handle in terms of a workload? This is really setting up a framework for that role, what's expected, what it looks like, the time constraints of it, all of that sort of thing. When you have this in place, it begins to give you a little bit of a benchmark to begin to work from in your organization. And we found that to be very, very helpful as we bring on new staff, train new staff, and it's helped us to manage that frontline manager well. Okay, the last point is compensation plan. So if you want to have a strong operation in your organization and be able to serve your customers really well and have a really good team, a thriving team, you need strong compensation plans in place. Now, that doesn't mean you need to pay more than anybody else. It doesn't mean you need to pay crazy amounts of money, but you need to be very competitive. But I think more importantly, there needs to be other components to your compensation plan other than just a base salary that incentivize the kinds of behavior you're looking for. So if you're looking to improve employee retention, if you're looking to meet certain profitability goals, or if you're looking to have a certain customer retention rate, incentivizing these sorts of metrics will really push your managers towards behaviors that benefit the company as a whole. So it creates this sort of win-win scenario for both the company and for the manager. So spend some time looking at your compensation plans and make sure the compensation plan aligns with the goals of the organization. So hey, if this video was helpful for you, we have an operations workshop coming up September 15th through the 17th. There's a link along with this video that you can click on to learn more about that. We have room for about 35 people. We're almost a third of the way sold out for that. And this will be our last operations workshop. And we'll talk about all of these issues that we covered in this video in much greater depth, along with several other issues like increasing profitability and customer contracts and a whole host of things that I think will help you be able to build a strong operation within your company and hopefully prepare you for future growth. So check that out, and we hope to see you in September at the operations workshop.